Happy holidays, everyone! Merry Christmas, and welcome back to the Sitrep podcast, your source for all things military and historical wargaming. I am your host, Risky Jim, and today we are back for part 2 of our annual Christmas Carnage tabletop wargame. If the phrase Christmas Carnage strikes you as just a little weird, well, there's a link to part 1 of this video in the description below. Check it out if you want to see what's going on with this little Christmas tradition of ours, or if you just want to see how our tabletop armies have gotten to their present situation. But for now, suffice it to say that an army of miscreants, perhaps with more ammunition than sense, has gathered their forces and launched a full-scale tabletop assault on Santa's North Pole Workshop and Christmas Village. Fortunately, Santa has had ample warning of this attack, forewarned of course by his global intelligence network that lets him know who's been naughty and who's been nice. And of course, he has his valiant North Pole Defense Force, his magical militia of polar bear and reindeer cavalry, elven and snowman infantry, epic heroes, and steadfast commanders. Christmas season after Christmas season, these heroic defenders have stood tall against the villains of the year, defending Santa's Christmas village against all comers in the name of holiday cheer. So, who's the enemy this time? Well, as we saw in part 1, a brigade of Spartan and ODST troopers from the Halo universe has launched the assault. Maybe they came through a portal and mistook some of Santa's magical creatures as a new faction of the Covenant. Who knows? So it's Mark, my girlfriend Jennifer, and myself playing the Halo attackers, while John and Jean, Jennifer B, John G, and Tom play Santa's heroic defenders. It's been a hell of a brawl so far, with both sides bringing over 60 figures to the table this year. The game system is ridiculously simple, allowing for fast, furious, and somewhat reckless play, all of which adds up to some very serious losses sustained by both sides already. Santa's left-wing commander, Justin the Woolly Mammoth of on tabletop fame, has been taken out by a Halo sniper. Virtually all of Santa's light reindeer cavalry has been annihilated, but one of the last survivors has also managed to take out one of Halo's Warthog assault vehicles. Bumble, the abominable snow beast, has wrecked the other Warthog, even as a full platoon of Spartan infantry stands poised to close assault across the central bridge and attack the magical Christmas tree that stands as the winning objective on today's wargaming table. So this game is far from concluded, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say we go to the footage and we see how Christmas Carnage 2023 concludes? Here is Santa's entire left wing. You'll notice it just isn't here anymore. Mark and his green Halo troopers have wiped it out, along with Misha the Battle Bear. Good job, Misha. But in all seriousness, Santa has taken whatever survivors he's had off of his left wing, collapsed them inward to his center in response to my blue Halo platoon, which now has 10 figures in base-to-base contact with that light-up Christmas tree.
Scott Fargus.
Grover Dill!
Again, that tree is the objective for this table. He who holds that tree wins the game. So what the Halo players are doing now is completing their turn. For example, my blue Halo platoon advanced across that central bridge and took the objective Christmas tree. I'm now completing my turn by executing my fire phase. So you see me rolling a lot of D8s here. I have D8s for my rifles, D6s for SMGs, D4s for pistols, and I have to beat what John G rolls for his snowman heavy infantry. You see I just killed one there. And then he's got some D6s in here, I think, for his snowman light infantry. The game is really that simple. The only caveat is that in part 1 of this video you may have seen the Halo Force, we have lost both of our communication AI holograms. So for each of those that we lose, Santa's forces will get a +1 on all of their rolls. They've now taken out both of our AIs. They're going to get +2 on all their rolls for the rest of the game. Alright, so now I'm lighting up some fire with some additional riflemen on the other side of the tree, some submachine gunners, and I have a heavy weapons guy left. So this is just a hell of a firefight. This entire area is just a crisscross of muzzle flashes and tracers. Also, a lot of these rolls are coming down to dead ties, in other words, near misses, and only because of the +2 bonus that Santa's guys are getting. So what I'm trying to say is, long story short, take your first shot. Santa's forces are getting away with a lot of very near near misses. As Gene says on the table, some of these snowmen sure got a big chunk taken out of their carrot nose. Nevertheless, I'm doing the best I can, because the more of these guys I can kill now, the less of them they are going to be able to shoot back at me during their turn 3 coming up shortly, and therefore retake the tree. So I'm really trying to thin out the enemy counterfire I know will be coming back at me. So here is our situation at the beginning of Santa's North Pole Defense Force turn 3. This may not be the last turn of the game, but it's definitely going to be the decisive turn of the game. So here's our overall situation. As the Halo attackers, we have definitely won over here on our right wing. Because even including my 3 little guys there in blue platoon that managed to cross the creek, Mark's got a much larger force over here on the right wing, and frankly, nothing opposes us. In the center, we're holding the tree for now. We'll see how long that lasts. Alright, now we're over here on our left wing, where Jen is also more or less tabled. I won't say it's inconsequential, because everything right now revolves around that tree. Santa's North Pole Defense Forces have the rest of this turn and this turn only to kill all those guys around the tree. As you can see here, the rest of Jen's guys are more or less tabled, except for her 2 heavy weapons crews. But you'll notice before, a lot of those polar bears collapsing inward, everything's about putting fire on that tree. Alright, so the Battle of the Tree now begins. You see where the tree's in the center, it's encircled more or less by a whole ring of my blue platoon, and what has happened so far in this turn is Santa has collapsed all available forces and firepower in a desperate attempt to break us loose of that tree and liberate the objective. So the very first shooting phase is 10 to 12. Santa shot at my heavy weapons guy, top guy in the area versus top guy in the area. Long story short, take your second shot. Both sides are putting in maximum effort. 10 to 12 on a D10 on a D12.
Here's another one! Oh, he's a dead-eye 80.
Both sides desperately need a victory here, and both sides are prepared to pay for it. So, again, just to wrap things up, I've got 10 figures in base-to-base contact with the tree. Santa's North Pole forces have the rest of this fire phase to kill every single one of them. If I can occupy that tree for 1 turn, Halo forces win the game. Next, we come to the rest of the Teddy Bear Heavy Infantry. This is the Honor Guard under Marine Corps Toys for Tots Bear, and they're engaging more of my Blue Platoon Halo Infantry, still occupying the Christmas tree objective here at the center of the table. Now, like we said, Santa's forces are getting a +2 to all their rolls for the rest of the game because of those lost communication AIs. However, as the defender right now, I also get a +1 as a terrain bonus. I'm taking cover under the tree. So with her last shot, Jennifer B misses, and she elects to use one of Santa's 3 magic rerolls. Remember, Santa's magic allows the army commander, Santa himself, to redo 3 failed rolls throughout the game, but even with the reroll, she misses again, and I now have 6 remaining Halo figures occupying that critical objective point. Now comes Jean's part of the battle. She's going to start off with these Polar Bear Heavy Cavalry from across the creek. She rolls a 6, that's modified to an 8. I only get a 3 on defense, becomes a 4 because of the tree, doesn't matter. That's it for him, he is smacked down. Okay, I have a D6 submachine gunner left, so I'm going to roll a D6 +1 on defense. She rolls a D8 +2 communication bonus, and that's going to be another kill on my submachine gunner guy. Yeah, definitely there with that 4, even with it becomes a 5. Yeah, he's now down and out of the count. There are now 4 defenders left holding that tree. We now shift to Jean's polar bears that are much closer. They're over here on this side of the creek, and we're going to see what happens there. Alright, so there's her attack roll. I can't beat that even no matter what I roll, so that's going to be it for him. Now I've got a pistolier. Okay, so I want to get a D4 for him. I'm going to go ahead and roll a 4, the max roll, which becomes a 5. However, she rolls a 4, +2 becomes a 6 because of that communication bonus we keep talking about. Yeah, there's my 4, becomes a 5. There's her 4, becomes a 6. That is going to be the end of that pistol guy. So there are now only 2 guys left, and it comes down to the snowmen. Okay, so my very last 2 Blue Platoon Halo Troopers need to be shot off of that objective point by John G. and his light snowman infantry. His very first shot scores a hit. I roll a 3 on my D8 defense dice, add 1 for my terrain bonus because I'm under the tree. He rolls a 6 on his D6 because he's only light infantry. However, he gets to add 2 because of the aforementioned communication failure bonus. So he manages to beat me, and therefore the trooper's eliminated. But then he starts missing a lot of rolls. In summary, I get D8 in defense, add 1 for my tree bonus. He rolls D6 because he's only light infantry, but then he gets to add 2 because of his communication bonus. But he keeps rolling really low, and it looks like we might have to tap Santa's very last reroll here, his magical reroll. But then I rolled really bad on my defense dice, and finally my last Halo Trooper is down. The tree, for now, has been cleared. Good God, look at this slaughter, man.
And don't you forget it!
There are 10 of my guys and at least 3 of Santa's troopers just piled up around this tree. But now we're in Halo turn 4, and look what happens. Jen is advancing with 2 of her very last red platoon. She only gets to move 12 inches because she has to cross that creek. That's considered heavy terrain. But she's got the distance.
Quit dragging your feet!
And that tree has now been recaptured again. Meanwhile, I am moving forward with my very last 3 survivors. You'll see where they have now bounded over that creek. They've taken cover behind that hedge, and they are now going to open fire into Santa in the back. So let's start resolving these die rolls. I get a D8 as a rifleman, and Santa gets a D12. So Jennifer B is rolling for Santa. She beat the first roll. Then I roll a 7 versus her 4. Boom! Santa has now taken a hit. Then I roll a 6. Boom! There we go. Santa has now been shot twice. He gets 2 hits. I have officially killed Santa, except Jennifer B uses Santa's third and last magic reroll, rerolls her D12, and with the second attempt, beats my attack dice. So Santa is clinging to life for now. Not for long, though, because here comes Mark, and he is calling in the sniper! They're on that ridge on the high ground. So we check the line of sight. Yes, Santa is definitely in line of sight to that sniper. Santa has no more magical rerolls. He's used all 3. So Mark's going to roll his D8 versus Jen B and her D12. And that is it. Santa is KIA. Brained out by Mark's sniper, and that's pretty much the end of Mr. Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
As far as game effects go, there really won't be any. He was the one flying unit on the table, but honestly, Halo never used any of their anti-aircraft rockets anyway. As far as command goes, okay, Santa's down, Justin the Woolly Mammoth is down, so it looks like Bumble, who is pointing the wrong way, is the new army commander. But the real question is going to be whether or not Santa's forces can clear these 2 red troopers that Jen has put back on the Christmas tree. Yep, there he is, Mr. Sniper, brained out Santa Claus from halfway across the table in the back, no less.
What, are you gonna cry now? Come on, cry, baby, cry for me. Come on, cry!
He's definitely getting some coal in his stocking next year, that's for sure. But I will also add, as a historical footnote, it was one of my blue riflemen who scored the first hit on Santa. Either way, he's down. Santa's turn 4, and they're going to try and kill Jen's 2 troopers currently occupying the Christmas tree. If I couldn't hold it with 10 figures, what chance does Jen have with 2?
That's a good one, Dad.
So not only do they want to liberate the Christmas tree, Santa's forces also want a big wet slice of that sniper. I don't know why, everyone suddenly hates that guy for some reason. Alright, over here on the Halo left wing, it looks like some of Jen's last figures are under attack by Bumble, that heavy weapons mount. D20 versus D10, naturally Bumble's going to win that one, and that eliminates the last of our Halo weapons mounts. Turns out the other one was finally taken out by some of John's light reindeer cavalry. Took them a couple turns, but looks like they finally got the job done. We now return to the second fateful battle of the Christmas tree, where it looks like John G's light snowman infantry are engaging the last 2 troopers of Jen's red platoon. So the first one's down. There's another die roll. Okay, the second one's down. That battle was predictably short and savage. That tree has now changed hands 4 times this game, but it looks like the North Pole Defense Force has it for good. The North Pole Defense Force is now wrapping up the rest of their turn 4. There's a number of things they want to accomplish in this phase. Number 1 seems to be to kill that sniper. Everybody hates that guy for some reason. I don't know why. They also want to wrap up some things over here on the Halo left, where Jen has been more or less tabled, but they still want to get some units cleared out here. So remember, you're allowed to move and then shoot, or shoot and then move, however you want to arrange your turn. It's a very simple system. And at the moment, it looks like Jean is moving down some of her Polar Bear Heavy Cavalry to wipe out the technicians that used to run our hologram communication AIs. Alright, meanwhile we have some Snowman Light Infantry, the ones that didn't fire against Jen's 2 red troopers at the Christmas tree earlier in the turn. They have now maneuvered around the tree and are drawing a bead on some of Mark's green platoon over here on the high ground on the Halo right. We also have, looks like, a couple of Jean's Polar Bear Heavy Cavalry on the bridge where they've got some great lines of fire. Alright, so the North Pole Defense Forces fire in this direction is going to start off with Jean's 2 Polar Bear Heavy Cavalry on the bridge. So first of all, Jean rolls a modified 5, a natural 3. Again, they get to add 2 to everything. But then Mark rolls a natural 8. And that sniper, he's well camouflaged or something. He's got his holo ghillie suit on. Manages to evade the fire. The second shot is going to be a modified 4. Again, Mark rolls an 8. So the bears howl in rage as Jean laments. They've just missed, and that sniper remains in place. But then we come to U.S. Marine Corps. Toys for Tots Bear. He rolls a natural 11. Mark cannot beat that with a D8 no matter what he rolls. The sniper is finally down. That's the second year in a row Marine Corps Toys for Tots Bear has saved the day. Long story short, take your third shot. We are definitely into the mopping up phase of our game. Looks like I've already lost 2 of my very last 3 blue platoon troopers here in this little crossroads firefight. Those first 2 troopers were lost to heavy snowman infantry. Now I'm under fire from light snowman infantry. The good news is, light snowman infantry, you see them there at the very top of your screen, they only get to roll a d6, but again, every time they get to roll, they get to add +2 to their roll. So, even though I roll a 7, they roll a 6, add 2, that makes 8, which beats my 7. That's enough to kill my last rifleman and knock me out of this game. Alright, we are now on Halo turn 5. I have been tabled with blue platoon. My girlfriend Jennifer has been tabled with red platoon. All that's left is Mark with his green platoon. He's got a grand total of 8 figures left out of our initial 62. So he sees the writing on the wall, and it's time to start beating a hasty retreat.
Okay, Ralphie, you win this time, but we'll be back!
The only question on the table is, as Mark is retreating, he wants to grab the corpse of Bambo. That is the Bambi/Rambo deer that took out the Halo Warthog earlier in the game. However, I warn him that if he does that, if he takes Bambo off the field to convert him into a bag of deer jerky...
You stay away from that turkey! It's got an hour to cook. You'll get worms.
Well, Santa might not resurrect the rest of our guys that have been left on the field with his magical hot cocoa and marshmallows. So maybe we'll go ahead and leave Bambo on the field after all. Holy crap. Yeah, that was another big slobber knocker, as JR might say, for our Christmas Carnage Wargame. Look at this tree. It looks like something out of 40K.
It's indescribably beautiful.
So I lost 10 figures here, Jen lost 2 figures here. Before I was wiped out, I managed to take out 4 of North Pole Defense Forces figures here. There's a total of 16 dead just stacked up under this Christmas tree. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, definitely a bit of a slaughter there. Again, that tree changed hands 4 separate times. Here we're looking at the very last of the Halo Defenders. Grand total of, looks like 8 figures, although only 4 of them were actually combat figures. Looks like Halo still controls 6 inches of the very corner of the table. Everything else has been more or less wiped out. And if we were serious about survival, yeah, it would be totally time to flee, because we're getting outflanked by heavy polar bear cavalry there, more heavy cavalry there, and it looks like 9 figures of snowman infantry pressing from this crossroads to close up the other wing. Yeah, we definitely lost this game. And that's another one in the books, folks. Christmas Carnage Chapter 9. We've been doing this since 2014, and it looks like Santa's North Pole Defense Force has prevailed again. Except this time, they lost not 1, but 2 heroes. Santa went down near the end of the game, and Justin the Woolly Mammoth went down on turn 1, almost the very first fire phase. So Jen's like, oh no, he's groggy! Because now he wakes up with Santa's magical hot cocoa and marshmallows, looks around, wonders where everybody went, and where all this smoke came from. Yeah, definitely this year was another bloodbath. Alright, let's get the camera down for some low-level drone footage to get a good look at the table before we start taking it down. Again, all this terrain is more or less scratch-built. The scale is kind of all over the place, at least as far as the figures go. The Halo figures are 2 inches tall, so again, that makes them roughly 1:36. Here's Misha the Battle Bear, not happy with the results, but then again, he never is. Here's poor Justin one more time. Oh no, Justin, what happened? Alright, so you might notice that a lot of this terrain you may have seen before, especially the buildings, are more or less left over from our Trenton games that we often run near Christmas to commemorate the Battle of Trenton, 1776, December 26th of that year, of course. We also have some of our Christmas decoration terrain, complete with light-up windows. And yeah, the table is kind of a mess at the moment because we just had a huge game on it. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. So congratulations to John, Jean, John G, Jennifer B, and Tom for a great victory with the North Pole Defense Force. Once again, you guys have saved the day in the name of holiday cheer and Christmas spirit. As far as myself, my girlfriend Jennifer, and Mark are concerned, well, we did the best we could, but let's face it, we knew we weren't going to win this game anyway, because it's Christmas time, man. Santa's gotta win. You see here some of the surviving figures from the North Pole Defense Force. Santa wound up with a few more surviving figures than he did last year. He only had 5 figures left last game, but at the same time, he started off with a lot more figures. So like I said, that's where we're going to wrap it up, and I hope you guys liked it. Well, there you have it, folks. For the 9th time in a row, Santa has defended his North Pole Workshop and Christmas Village from yet another army determined to ruin Christmas for everyone. Of course, in the smoky, blood-splattered aftermath, we all realized that this was just a huge misunderstanding, and everybody on both sides is taken back to Santa's workshop for magical hot chocolate and marshmallows, heals you back to 100%, and now everybody, of course, is the best of friends. I'm not going to dive too deep into the intricate tactics and maneuvers that played out on today's table. This game is laughably simple. It's really a participation game. Let's face it, Santa's always going to win, and it's just another excuse to gather your friends around the table, chuck some dice, and have a little bit of Christmas fun. Speaking of which, everybody out there have a wonderful holiday season, and best wishes from the Sitrep podcast team for a safe and prosperous new year. And that's where we're going to leave it for now, folks. Thanks very much for watching, not just this episode, but for all the great support that you guys have shown us throughout the year. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Please remember to hit that notification bell. Also, please consider joining the Sitrep Podcast Discord. There's an auto-accept invitation link to our Discord in the description of this video. Join our community, see what everybody's up to, and best of all, show us what's happening on your hobby table. But for now, we are rounds complete, not just for another episode, but for another year of Sitrep Podcast content. I am your host, Risky Jim, and as always, Tango Mike for watching.